Out is seated very comfortably. Engineer Meshach Oza, the one I said is a lover of the people, a lover of truth. He would say it as it is, and most times he would just say it and doesn't mind whose ox gets God. But I really appreciate you coming around this
thanks
morning.
for having me. It was a pleasure.
Day 7 of August. Day 7 of the protest.
Very well, Blessing. Always a pleasure when you been on this dial with you.
Okay. Let's look at the headlines.
Not a problem.
Day 7 of the protest, and the headlines are just reeling out. The protest seems to be spread into something else in different areas of the country. We have on the Vanguard, and Blessing, you check other papers too, so we can just reel them out fast and sharp. 6 Palliards, real sponsors of rioters, arrested. This is coming from the police. And on Nigerian Tribune, it says sponsors of protest on watch list. That's what the FG says.
Okay, on the Punch, we have it this way: Russian flag. Federal government probes 4 northern political bigwigs. And on the Daily Trust, we have protest how 4 teenagers bright to be were killed in Kano and Zaria.
We still have more about this protest. And on the Daily Times, we have End Bad Governance protests, security agents in manhunt for foreign sponsors and make arrests in Kano.
Daily Independent has it this way: hashtag End Bad Governance protest. Federal government places diaspora sponsors on watch list, freezes their accounts.
Okay. While we're talking about all these protests and all the movement, the Guardian newspaper has another angle. I know the Guardian always has stories about money and finance, but this one is about the protest. It says Falana backs military in denouncing protesters' use of Russian flag. These are all the issues that are surrounding the protest as it is right now. So, Engineer Meshach Oza, day 7 of the protest. Now they are hunting those who are carrying the Russian flags and those who are trying to instigate something else during this protest. Let's hear your perspective.
Well, I think, unfortunately, I think the government is not managing this process well. And in terms of information management, information dissemination, and of course, and intelligence gathering. You see, you go on, first and foremost, the police hierarchy failed in trying to tell Nigerians and trying to tell the world that the police are not using live bullets or rubber bullets. So there's a caveat there. Who killed those people? With what kind of bullets were they killed? And prior to the protest, the police hierarchy made mention of the fact that policemen are going to be wearing camcorders. And that means they would, in every protest situation, there's a camera on all their uniforms that they were used to see situations like that. So those people that were killed, according to Amnesty International, it should be over 20-something now. Who killed them if you didn't shoot blank bullets? Then vis-a-vis unprovoked riotous tear gas shooting is unacceptable. Protest in line with international best practices and constitutionally it is enshrined both in the United Nations Charter 44 and our Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But when a protest becomes violent, looting, breaking into private and public properties, and of course looting and vandalization, those are criminal. In that situation, anyone caught you will criminalize the action. It's no longer a protest, but it's a criminal enterprise. It's a riotous criminality, and it will be seen in that line when litigations are brought up. Now, let's understand the dynamics. Now, I want to hold the government accountable. You see, our government have always and will continue to always play politics of inconclusiveness. What do I mean? You know these people. You say you have seen certain people. You have been able to get intelligence that certain foreign. I hate propaganda. I love boldness. If you know this, name them. The government should name them. In Senate clients, their names are called immediately. These people are arrested, put under surveillance, and you observe them. You said you have arrested 9 Polish citizens in Kaduna. We never saw visuals of those citizens. We never saw anything about those citizens.
Accounts have been frozen.
Yes, accounts have been. Whose names? Who owns those accounts?
Real sponsors of rioters arrested. Who are these?
You said the persons.
Of them have not been
one of the persons have been sewing. The flag is from Niger. You should interview that person.
I think they got somebody who was sewing some flags recently.
They said yes, it's from Niger Republic, not in Nigeria.
Well, let's talk about the flag.
Yeah.
That flag, red, blue, and white. Yeah. Is that really the flag of Russia, or
that is the color of the flag of Russia? That is not the it's like green, white, green can be in different forms, but that is not the arrangement of the flag of Russia.
Exactly.
And yes,
but is that the arrangement of our military? Because you need to, because that color also is the color of our military. Now,
it's the color, they call it, you see, when the president, Mr. President, is in chambers, having a federal executive meeting or council of state meeting, there's a color of flag. I've forgotten something relating to seat of arms or something. I can't remember now. That is the color of the flag.
Yes.
That flag was decided when he gave the address on Sunday.
So that is the color of the flag. So
why are they calling it the Russian flag now?
Propagandas, and our government is carried away by propaganda because they play politics of illusion. They're trying to drag emotional sentiments and of the Russians into this, and it will not work. The truth is,
this is all the people.
Look, politicians.
Because the Russians they're not the ones carrying the flag.
No. Let me tell you, these are gullible. Look at the flag. These are gullible. This is the comment. These are gullible. Anywhere the president is delivering a judgment, a speech, both and or holding a meeting, you must see the flag of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The flag, we call it something, seat of arms or something. I can't remember now.
Okay.
That's what you have there.
I think it's actually selective deafness, because the president is paying attention to those who are saying foreigners are sponsoring this protest.
Because that's where
they're not paying attention to what the citizens are saying.
That is it.
It's just, I don't know.
You see, well, like you said, selective deafness.
Okay. Let's go this way.
Okay.
Let's assume that the flag that people are carrying
really
is a Russian flag. Let's just assume.
There's no relationship. Okay, let's
assume.
Okay.
What's the problem with that?
For crying out loud. First and foremost, there's no justification for carrying a Russian flag. We're not colonized by the Russians. There's no, you see, the Russians, now why they are doing that? If you look at the Lake Chad Basin, the Burkina Faso, Niger, axis, there's been military coups and military takeovers. And it's been insinuated that the Russian administration led by Putin have a hand in those military ports that have overrun the corrupt regimes of the democratic government that these countries had.
Okay.
And they just feel that when they drag the attention of the Russians into this, it will create a similar scenario like we have in Senegal, we have in Burkina Faso, we have in Niger, but Nigeria has a unique structure of political imbalance. It will be difficult. That's why you see that this protest does not have a geopolitical spread, and that's the situation we are in.
Shehu Sani has something to say on the Nigerian Tribune. We have this headline. It says violent protest in North, an attempt to create atmosphere for overthrow of government, says Shehu Sani. And the writer says money, Russian flags shared to youths.
Yes.
Do you think that is the case of what is happening in the North?
Let me tell
the
you,
case of
the
money
case,
being
what is
shared to the
happening in the
youths,
North,
the flags given to them.
What's happening in the North is political ignorance and gullibility of the electorate. Now, the electorate are very gullible. They have been sold a narrative. They were, first and foremost, they were pauperized. They were made to be poor. They are not selling a narrative. The narrative was sold on the threshold of, this is what is happening. Tinubu is not one of us. It does not project the ideas of Islam. It does not project the ideas of northern oligarchs. You people are hungry. What has it done for you people? They now spread money around because people are really hungry. They spread money for them. Now, this is what we want you to do. The northern electorate, if you look at as children as young as 7, 8 years, we are part of the protest in the North. And they capitalized on the vulnerability of these children to drag them into this. That's why you see there's so much, there are so much in numbers. And in that scenario, there are players behind the scene who are funding this, and they are political gladiators whom this government have not favored, or whom this government did not favor. So people have looked at politics as a career, and when it doesn't favor them, they do everything to destabilize the structure on ground. And that is what is happening, playing out in the North. The northern electorate are very gullible. They are intellectually inept. bereft of ideas. So it's what you put there, like the tabula rasa, if you do logic and you remember, the tabula rasa is a clean slate. When a child is born, it's a clean slate. It is what you put in that comes out. Now, that is what is happening. A lot of them have vague memories, vague ideas, vague mindset, and now the politicians, the political gladiators are manipulative, and they manipulate their negative ideologies into those children, and even the adults, majority of whom don't have work, and that is the product of what you're saying. But I'm happy the protest is restricted to, they voted this person en masse, en bloc, and they are fighting for some person they voted. We didn't vote. I didn't vote for him. Let me speak for myself. I didn't vote for Tinubu, so I can't fight for what I didn't vote for. Let them feel. I'm feeling the pains, no doubt. I'll wait for the next election. But they are reacting to whom they voted for. They think, or rather, they thought will be able to project their ideals.
Talking about waiting for the next election, is that the only thing to do when you have leadership that is really failing the people and causing serious hardship?
The only thing, there are two options. We're acting one now. The first option is protests, peaceful protests. That is the first and only option you can do. Okay. Because I cannot project or propagate for a revolution, because it will be unsafe for me, unsafe for you, unsafe for our parents, unsafe for our siblings. So I'm an advocate of peaceful resolution to issues. There must be peaceful resolutions premised on negotiations that will lead to will not lead to conflict, but that will lead to a truce, and that is what I'm after. Okay. But in the prevailing circumstances, what is happening right now is that politicians are the people, our biggest problem in this country. They are the cause of what is happening in this country.
Because the Punch newspaper has this headline on page 14. It says, reps fail to effect 50% pay cut. You know, we talked about this.
But if we said that, I told you it's a scam. I told you, see,
and you said it's a scam that the reps will not cut the allocation by 50%.
Interestingly, on another breakfast show from a sister station in Lagos, there was a House of Rep member who was flaunting his payment, and did not exactly indicate that there was a pay cut.
Now, the pay cut, there was never a pay cut. Now, first and foremost, they lied that their salary was 600,000 per month. But when a certain National Assembly member flaunted the salary, it was 962,000 and some fractions. Yeah. So that means they didn't give account. The person that projected that first narrative told a lie. You see, our leaders at all levels have problem with fidelity, have problem with integrity, have problem with commitment to democratic ideals. We have some good leaders, some good politicians that are in the minimum, less than 10% of our political circle, but 90% of our politicians at all levels are greedy, are liars, have integrity problem, have democratic etiquette problem, they have commitment problem, and they build lies like skyscrapers, and they have very short memories because they forget the lies they have told. And for intelligent listeners, we pick holes. When you come with another lie, we remind you of the one you've spoken before.
Okay, let's talk about minimum wage now. Nasarawa and Ondo State governors have said they are ready to pay 70,000 naira minimum wage.
No state should not be able to pay minimum wage.
The state government says
I'll tell you why. Yeah, they can.
But that means you support the NLC saying if you can't pay, you get out.
No, you don't have any justification. But first and foremost, there's been an increase in allocation. In fact, Delta State should be paying like 100,000. Delta Rivers, Bayelsa, Akwa Ibom should be paying a minimum of 100, 150. We have the capacity. What do they need to do? Now, block the leakages. There are a lot of leakages in governance. Leakages in terms of IGR generation. Especially, let me come to Delta. There's a lot of leakages in taxation. The majority of these taxes, you see, all these people you see on the road, majority of those taxes they pay there's no accountability. You give them the money, they give you your key, or they give you your car, the money goes into private pockets. So we need accountability. We need to block leakages to improve the internally generated revenue and to show up the IGR of the state to as close as we can. In Delta State, for example, Lagos, you know what Lagos ends? Lagos IGR a month can take the allocation. That's why for 30 months or thereabouts, when Tinubu was governor, he stayed away. I was 50 months or thereabouts, I can't remember now. When Obasanjo refused to give them money, Lagos survived because the IGRO runs into hundreds of billions. Delta State can generate an IGRO of over 15 to 20 billion monthly. if we block leakages. That is one. Then secondly, we have looked at the situation critically. The FARC has increased. Now, what do they need to do? The second option, reduce political appointees. There are too many political appointees that don't add value to the system. Reduce political appointees, create jobs for them, let them come into the public service. Now, a political appointee's salary can pay for 5 graduates that come into the public service. Look at most of our public service. We no longer have cleaners. We don't have clerical officers anymore. Most of them have gone to school and they've converted. The government is not even thinking of employing. They are creating a sense of career for the public sector, for the political sector than the public service, and it's driving a lot of people that should be in the public service. That should look. It's weakening the institution called the public service. It's weakening the fiber of the public service. Public service is no more looking as it used to be. Even the public service workers are beginning to reason along the line of politicians. Everything they're thinking along that line is to destabilize, is to loot, is for corrupt tendencies, and we need to restructure a lot of our mindset. Most importantly,
do you think that the NLC and the TUC would have the boldness to really, confront any state governor that refuses to pay the 70,000 naira? Because they've said if you cannot pay, resign and leave office.
Forget about that.
Will the NLC really fight for workers in any state that the government says we can't pay that money?
Blessing, my stand on the NLC and all the trade unions already. I mean, I don't trust them. They've lost the essence of unionism, and I think they need to give themselves some level of reorientation. I don't believe in the NLC, in the Trade Union Congress, and any other form of unionism again, because a lot of them use unionism as a platform to upgrade their political CVs in prospective aspiration for political office, maybe appointive or elective. So they just look at unionism as a platform for self-aggrandizement, not for the ideals of projecting the workers in the interest of the people.
So the workers are at the mercy of the state governors now.
Yes, the workers believe what I'm telling you. Any trade union or labor leader that you see negotiating is for their own interest, because they would always compromise. They have not shown us true professionalism in unionism that they stand for, and I've lost interest in them.
We hope that somehow along the line that the states pay.
No, I trust Delta State. They will shock the world. They can make.
I'm talking about Delta.
I'm talking of Delta now, because that's what concerns me. Delta, with what we have, we should be able to pay 100,000. And I believe the more agenda of the governor, if he's listening to me, please, we are begging. We know the more agenda should always reflect in everything I call. You see how peaceful we are in Delta State? So we deserve more, Mr. Governor. Please, I trust you, Honorable Francis Sheriff Oborowori. You can't do that.
Oh, you said Honorable Francis? I thought you were talking to
No.
Naira crude sale yet to happen, coming from operators.
And then Obasanjo says he has a lot to say this morning on the Nigerian Tribune. In the Nigerian Tribune, he said, Nigerians' reliance on crude oil, a deadly mistake.
You see, when Obasanjo talks, I take whatever I say with a pinch of salt, because it's part of the biggest problems Nigerians have seen.
What if he has realized his mistakes and now he's beginning to see what he should have done better?
I will tell you why I affirm to what I am saying.
Okay.
You see, our leaders have very short memories, and Obasanjo had the opportunity. I will tell you why. I'll reference what you've just said to what I'm going to say. Okay. Obasanjo came in as a military head of state. Besides being a military head of state, he was chief of army staff during the Gowon administration between 70 and to 1976. When they overthrew, alongside Murtala Mohammed, they overthrew Gowon, and they came into power. He became the number 2 citizen, and Murtala was killed ceremoniously, and he became the president, and he handed over to civilians. He had an opportunity to restructure Nigeria, had an opportunity to, but at that time we had the oil boom. There was nothing Obasanjo did about the oil boom. Now, at that time, equally, we had regional cash crop and food crop franchise. The North had the granite pyramid, they had millet, they had cotton. That's why you had a lot of textile mills in Kaduna. The South here, we had rubber, we had palm produce. That's when Malaysia came to Owena River Basin and Naifo in Benin to collect palm produce and rubber seeds. We had in the Southwest, we had cocoa and we had cocoa cola nuts. And in the south, in the north and southeast, other cash crops and food crops. But he didn't think of Nigeria thought of himself. He acquired lands running to hundreds of acres for the Obasanjo farms. If they had built those kind of farms in the different geopolitical regions of this country, food security would have been institutionalized. But everybody concentrated on oil. The oil boom diverted our attention. Now he had the second chance. God took you out of the dungeon. From prison, he brought you to the palace, like Joseph. I expected that you would have reflected on the past and the failures that you made to come into to make the amends this time around, but it didn't. I mean, yes, give him the award, the compliments for GSM and all that. He left some good money in our external reserve, but he failed to fight corruption. Our biggest problem is corruption. And he knew the gladiators, he knew the corruption players, but he didn't know how to go about it because Nigeria is so complex. When you fight corruption, they fight you back along ethnic line, along religious line and all that. Then why do I say, you were saying maybe he has been remorseful.
He's remorseful.
That it could be whatever. And let me tell you why. Yeah, it can be a change. Let me tell you why. It's a clear indication. Let me tell you why. Now, if you don't know, there's what we call Council of State meeting. Now, Council of State meeting is held between this president and all former presidents or heads of state that are alive. They come, they are part of that meeting, and they have it the way they have federal executive meetings. Okay. So what stops them advising the government directly? Advising?
Usually
no. Then you come. No, you can't. Then you shout, let Nigerians hear that you discuss this. It's part of the system. He sold a lot of oil blocks. There are a lot of, our leaders need to show remorse, come, take their Quran, and confess their sins, return stolen wealth to the people. So much financial sins. They have stolen Look, let me tell you something, Blessing. 10 Nigerian
politicians should confess their
10 Nigerian leaders can restore this country. They will pay all our debts. 10 people in this country.
Wow.
They have the money.
Okay, the Dangote refinery is talking about its oil. And other domestic refineries have yet to start the purchase of crude oil in Naira, as the one that's directed by President Bola Tinubu. It was learned that the 20 billion plant and other local refineries in Nigeria had yet to start buying crude oil from Nigeria National Petroleum. What's up?
That is the biggest cancer, the oil and gas industry. There are two pipes that politicians used to steal Nigeria, NNPC and the CBN. You see, Dangote refinery is among the top 10 biggest refineries in the world. We have 4 indigenous refineries. And from Obasanjo's regime, they have been doing turnaround maintenance for these refineries that has run into hundreds of trillions of naira. The refineries have still not worked. What stops us from revisiting those turnaround and calling back the contractors? Let them tell us what happened or return back our monies. Because people have compromised. It becomes very difficult for them to carry out a holistic investigation.
Will expose a lot of things. Because
that is what we want. That's the only way we can heal.
These contracts are given to political leaders.
That is the only way we can heal, my dear. We need to heal. There's a lot of healing to be done in this country. The oil and gas sector made so many people. Look, if I open my mouth, so she'll be problems.
It's all right. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much,
Meshach Oza. It's a beautiful one to have had you right here.
Thanks for having me.
Studio. We hope to see you very soon.
Blessing knows how to reach me.
Thank you.
I'll
always reach you for paper review on Morning Ride.
The show continues, so we'll come back, we'll have a little conversation, then it'll be our interview session. Do stay with us.